Let's take a look at the Nurse Rex loop player inside Kong today. In previous versions of Reason, the ability to reshuffle, retime, and reimagine your loop content, all in sync with tempo, meant an endless well of creative possibilities. But with the addition of the Nurse Rex module inside the Kong drum designer, we've added a whole new level of Rexperimentation. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Click the Show Drum and Effects button to expand Kong, and select the Nurse Rex Loop Player module in the Drum module menu. Let's load a Rex loop by clicking the Browse Loop button. Each time I press the pad, my loop will play back once in its entirety. On Kong, this trigger mode is called Loop Trig. But what if I don't want to use the loop from start to finish? Thankfully, the Nurse Rex module supports 4 different types of pad triggers. You access these trig modes using the hit type selector for each pad. If I change the hit type from Loop Trig to Slice Trig, now my pad only triggers a single slice from my Rex loop. I can change which slice is triggered by unchecking the Trig box on a particular slice in my loop, selecting a different slice, and checking its Trig box. If I check off the Trig box in more than one slice, the Nurse Rex will randomly alternate which slice it plays back when I hit my pad controller. If I set the Nurse Rex to monophonic, I can get drum loops that stutter like this. Now let's take a look at the Chunk Trig hit type. Chunk Trig lets you spread sections of your loop across several pads in Kong. Let's initialize our Kong to reset it. Now, we'll create a Nurse Rex module on Drum 1 and load a loop. This is how it sounds right now. To split this loop up, go into Kong's Quick Edit mode. In Quick Edit mode, you can see that each pad is assigned, in order, from Drum Module 1 to Drum Module 16. This would be typical if you wanted to have 16 different drum modules playing 16 different sounds. For example, a synth kick on pad 1, a physical modeling snare on pad 2, a sampled hi-hat on pad 3, and so on. But by reassigning several of the pads to Drum 1 only, we can have them all trigger the same Nurse Rex module. Now, if I switch from the Pad Assignment Quick Edit mode to the Hit Type Quick Edit mode, you can see that each pad is set to Hit Type 1, which is Loop Trig. Right now, every pad will play the loop from start to finish. But watch what happens as I assign each pad to Hit Type 2, Chunk Trig. You see that? Kong automatically split my loop up and spread the 4 chunks of my loop evenly across my 4 pads. Now my pads only trigger a portion of the loop. I can resize the boundaries of the chunks by clicking and dragging their edges. Now, my loop is a series of chunks which can be triggered and reshuffled, all in sync with any tempo changes I make. To make things a little more interesting, I'll select a few slices and click the Reverse checkbox to reverse the audio for just that slice. I'm going to assign pad 8 to the 4th hit type, called Stop. This will stop any chunk from playing before reaching its end. Chunk Trig is useful for any musical element that's less than a full bar, but more than a single slice. If you like to work with breakbeats, you'll love to work with Chunk Trig.